Hey guys, welcome to this week's recap of The Real Housewives of Potomac. This episode is called The Naked Truth. And I would say this episode, it had a lot of high moments, a lot of oh my god moments, and a lot of oh my god, what's going on? Girls, what's going on? So let's get into it. So the girls are back from Mexico and they're back to their day-to-day lifestyle. And we get into finally a scene with Robin doing some sort of planning for her wedding. So she's going wedding dress shopping and she goes in looking for a dress for this wedding that she wants to accomplish in 1 month. And then she starts talking and you see that she comes to a realization that she needs a hairstylist. She needs to plan how she's gonna look. She needs to plan this. She needs to plan that. And I was so happy that she actually considered to having cake for her wedding. And I'm like, yes, let's have the cake. I can't believe you're even considering to have a whole ceremony without cake. The cake is a must, girl. Please, like a flavor or something. That's a lot to think about. So she realizes that it's going to be a lot of planning that she has to do for her wedding. So she goes wedding dress shopping. And when she goes into the store, she pulls up in this like a tie-dye maxi dress. And I hated it. I'm like, this is your moment. You're doing wedding dress shopping. I would think your outfit would have been more thought out of at least for a picture so you can remember this moment. But she just showed up in like a white tie-dye maxi dress that she could have got for like $12 off of clearance at like a Rainbow or something. And there's nothing wrong with those stores, but it lacked extravagance for me. Like I like to watch the Housewives for the extravagance. I like to see, even though they're like real people, still I would like to see more of a budget, more of a thought out look or something. So she's doing wedding dress shopping. And of course, she realized how much it takes to plan a wedding. And so at least she's now taking steps to find a dress. So in comes Ashley and Giselle to come help Robin pick out a wedding dress. When Ashley comes in, I'm like, Ashley, what the hell you got on? You're not at a beach or anything. This is like, come on, I would expect to go wedding shopping to look more chic. More chic look. Even though you're not trying on the dress, you're acting as support. And I feel like she had like other plans. Of course, we find out later she had other plans that day. So she was in to just pop in to give her 2 cents and out. So her look didn't even look like it was like a look planned that, you're going to come help your friend wedding shopping. You pretty much have your dress that you look like you're about to go off to the beach, off to like vacation even. And then when Giselle came in, I feel like out of all the looks, at least Giselle looked the best out of the 3 girls. At least she looked like she was at least shopping for a wedding. She came in white, even though she's not the bride to be. But she came in white, a more sophisticated look-ish. And that's not a good sign if Giselle's the best dressed out of the group of girls. So we have Ashley and Giselle, they sit together while they wait for Robin to come out from the dressing room with her first look. And so you see Ashley, little eyes light up because she's excited to tell Giselle what happened in Mexico after 8 p.m. Because, Miss Giselle, she likes to go take her beauty sleep. And so she's not up with the rest of the girls to know what's happening. So here's Ashley ready to tell Giselle what happened after 8 p.m. in Mexico. And apparently, Ashley, she doesn't tell you tea straight up. She kind of gives like clues. And, Giselle, she plays along with it. So Ashley says, a lot happened after. There was some kissing, there was some play. And, Giselle's like, what? With who? I need a person, location, the setting, tell me everything. And apparently, Mia was admiring Wendy and her physique. And we saw that. In the previous episode that, Mia is taking a liking to Wendy, and I'm like, Wendy, be careful. Like, don't be alone in a room with her. Like, you need to have a witness, pretty much. And so Mia, she's very intrigued with Wendy's physique. And, Wendy was a bit, kind of like interested to see what's that about, according to Ashley, or based on what Ashley saw of Wendy. And right in the middle of this tea being dropped, Robin, she comes out. She comes out in the first dress, and I'm like underwhelmed. I felt like she said she wasn't going to go for something traditional, but she came out in a traditional dress. She would describe herself as someone who goes to the beat of their drum. And I felt like, Robin, I just need you to find a beat. I don't think you follow any beat. I wouldn't say that, you're very, out there in terms of fashion. I feel like you kind of blend in. And the dress that she came up gave pretty much what Robin is, a person who blends in. I hated the first dress. I felt like it was super lazy, super traditional, very boring. And the girls, they were eating it up. They were like saying, oh, you look so beautiful. You look so beautiful. And I'm like, these are not the girls to come with you when you're looking for your look, for your special moment, for your special occasion. You need someone to be honest with you, to say, no, this looks dreadful. This is nothing special, nothing to even talk about. Because everyone wants to know what the bride is going to wear. And for you to just come in this plain Jane dress, come on. Like, no. Like, this is your second time around to have a whole wedding. So I would think you would go completely in a different direction of what is traditional. So I was so disappointed with the first look. I'm like, oh no. And I hate how these girls are lying to her too. It looks so outdated. What are you talking about? Next, she goes back into change to get into her second look. And, Ashley and Giselle, they go back into gossiping. And, Giselle is confused because, she's confused how Mia went from throwing drinks at Wendy to liking Wendy's body, and particularly her little kitty cat, Meow. And apparently, after their situation, they left alone together. So Ashley doesn't really know what happened following that. And of course, Giselle's going to get to the bottom of this and ask Mia for the tea. And so after that, Robin came out in her second gown. And apparently the second gown was supposed to be a non-traditional wild dress that she was really going for. And I'm like, it's still plain. Like, it doesn't even look like a wedding dress. It looked like maybe like a evening dress for a small event, nothing too grand. But I wasn't too wild. I would feel like this dress is more like even giving mother of the bride. It wasn't doing enough. I felt like, yeah, it had like the sparkle and pizzazz, but the shape of it was so plain. It was giving straps. It had straps, and us as housewife fans, we hate straps. Like, what kind of look you gonna give if it has straps? Not the straps. And they kept putting a veil on it. And I'm like, the veil is not helping it become more bridal, as opposed to it just being a really plain Jane dress. Maybe plain Jane on Friday with some sparkle, but it still wasn't doing much. I was not a fan of that dress. And then she came out in a third dress because Ashley, she couldn't stay long. Of course, Ashley, obviously, she looked like she had other plans. So Ashley left, and it was just Giselle and Robin, the green-eyed bandits, looking at the dress. And I felt like this last third dress kind of looks like the dress she initially got married in, that she donated in the beginning of this whole franchise season. So I'm like, this is not even a dress worth taking a picture to say, oh, you found something nice. I felt like it was just another plain dress, and it was so tacky. Not tacky, but like, I was so unimpressed, especially after seeing Portia from the Housewives of Atlanta's wedding. Like, her look, like, she's taking another chance of having a wedding. And so she went all out. So I felt like, Robin, I'm not saying for you to match her energy, but to do something that it's like you can be proud of. Like, I just hated the outfits that she had. And so now it's Robin and Giselle just talking with each other, and pretty much Giselle confronts Robin and say, me and Ashley was here for you, but how come your mother didn't come out for you? And pretty much Robin let it be known that she didn't tell her mom that she was even going through this, and I'm still confused as to why she hasn't said why she hasn't. But, I get it. If she doesn't know, of course, she's not going to be there. So now Giselle, after getting the answer for why Robin hasn't invited her mom to this, she gets into the bachelorette party. And her and Mia are planning the bachelorette party, and they're going over with Robin to the details. Her and Mia are planning the bachelorette party, and Giselle's going over with Robin the details. And Robin makes it clear that Karen is not invited. And obviously, I understood why Miss Karen wouldn't be invited to the party, because they had a whole blowout. They had a whole blowout in Mexico. Of course, Karen is not expecting an invite, because she made it clear that Robin's wedding is just a joke for her. And what I wasn't aware of is that, or I didn't think was going to happen, is that Robin didn't want to invite Wendy. And the reason why, she says, it makes sense after the fact. And Wendy is not invited to the bachelorette party because she was laughing behind while everything was going down in Mexico, when Karen was saying everything she was saying about Juan having a woman in Georgetown, and Wendy's like laughing, ha, hee hee, and doing all these extra stuff. So Robin says, pretty much you're not invited. So now Giselle has a clear understanding, okay, who not to invite. She tells her the details, and she makes it be known that it's gonna be a moment, definitely. It's gonna be a moment where they should dress like they're in their college days going to the club. So I'm interested to see that. They're supposed to have the bachelor party in a strip club. So she gets Robin a bit excited for that. And I'm excited to see these girls in the environment of a strip club in their college days outfits. So let's get excited for that. We next move on to a scene with Candace and her husband, Chris. And apparently they've been so busy, so they haven't had time to have a meal with each other. And when they sat down to have a meal, of course, they always discuss business and what's on the next agenda, which I feel like those two, they need time just to not talk about like business and what's going on with work and stuff like that. I feel like for them, I would like to see a scene of them just connecting as a couple. So I would like to see that from Candace and Chris. So they discuss about business and Candace plans for her music and her music video, because we know Chris is her manager, so he's the one responsible to keep her in order. And of course, Chris, as a good husband, he asks Candace, how was the trip in Mexico? And Candace is so funny. Candace is like, the old ladies were fighting, and I was happy because at least it's not Candace in the drama. And Chris is happy too. He's like, he's happy that she was not in the drama, but still, like, they always got to discuss about husbands. Like, he's really tired of that, and you can see that's like something that's bothering him. I feel like he hasn't properly got to address the girls for talking about him, making up lies and using him as a storyline. And then we jump to a scene with Karen and Wendy, and they're out for lunch, and they discuss about Mexico. And pretty much Karen, she brings up an interesting point. She brings up in the past how 2 years ago they were at an event together, and Robin says to Karen, are you afraid to what you would say when you're drunk? And Karen, she shots back to her, I'm not, but I know you are afraid of what your husband would say. And this lets Karen know that Robin knew about Juan saying inappropriate things when he is drunk. So at that moment, I think they realized that they have to be on guard with each other. So they had this issue like sitting, it just haven't popped or opened up for us to see as we're seeing it now. It then jumps back to Chris and Candace. And Chris asked, did they even have any fun on the trip? And Candace tells him about the gossip, what's going on, about how they're arguing about the husbands and stuff like that. And he hates that, and he just, moves away from talking about that and going back to what's important for him. And this is where you see he's a really good husband. He goes off from checking off the list of what they have accomplished and what needs to happen next. So they accomplished the music video. They accomplished moving forward of a lot of things with business. So now they can focus, and he thinks it will be the great time to focus on IVF, which is cute to see because that is something that's related to them in a relationship as husband and wife, creating family, a bigger family, as opposed to them just being focused strictly on business. And I love to see that for Candace. Candace is so deserving of that. It then moved on to the scene back to Wendy and Karen's lunch. And in the middle of their lunch, they get a phone call with Ashley, Miss Ashley. When we see a scene with Ashley, she's going to drop some tea. We don't get a scene with Ashley and there's no tea being dropped or no tea being spilled. So Ashley tells the girls that there was a group chat and she saw that they weren't included in it. So she, of course, gonna tell what was said on it. And pretty much she let the girls know that they are not invited to the bachelorette party. Them being Karen and Wendy. And of course, Karen, she knew that from the jump. But Wendy, she's shocked. And she's kind of like, she kind of seems bothered. I feel like this is more about her being excluded or being ousted from the group. And, imagine this. Like, remember, this is a show. So if she's not going to be a part of the group, that means she's not filming that day. She's not making her money that day. And I can see that she'll be upset more that she's not making money that day because Miss Wendy is about making her coins, okay? So I don't think she's mad about not being included to the bachelorette party. I feel like she's more mad about not filming and, having her scenes and having her moments, And, for her, I can see that because that would suck to always feel like you're excluded from the group. I don't like to see that. I like the girls to, deal with the issue head on because, of course, they're going to be compensated for that. It's not like it's going to be a big deal that Wendy shows up. She's not going to, go out the way to ruin your bachelorette party unless you make it happen. But how I see it is that, Robin doesn't want to pay for a plate or pay for Wendy to even be there. So she's stopping her bag pretty much. And we do to girls that stop bags, okay? So we then get to see Giselle and Mia meeting up for bachelorette planning. And, I feel like for Giselle, yeah, she wants to have a nice moment occasion for Miss Robin. But I feel like she's more into getting the tea and producing more scenes in the future. So she's more about riling up and getting information from Wendy that she could possibly use from Mia to use against Wendy. And so they do some bachelorette planning. But, Giselle, she wants to talk about what happened in Mexico with Mia and Wendy. And so Mia said, and what's interesting, this is so interesting. Mia said that Wendy was really actually very open with her. Like, she didn't ask her to, but Mia spread her legs to show Mia what's in between, And Mia, she said that Wendy touched her, but Mia wouldn't do anything without Mr. G, her husband, and Eddie's consent. So it seems like she was a little bit standoffish to the situation. And she was actually quite happy that Wendy would not be at the party, because Giselle made it known that Wendy would not be at the party. So I feel like Mia is seeming as though she's avoiding Wendy, but I don't know why, because from the previous episode she was so into her, she was so like fascinated with her physique. So now she making it seem like, you know, she's pushing away, like she's not into it at all. That makes it weird for Wendy, because you're like, damn, Wendy, what did you do? You know, I want to know now, what did Wendy do? I want to hear Wendy's side. And, you know, Giselle, she asked Mia, have you resolved things for Jacqueline? I'm like, no, not another episode about Miss Jacqueline. We're done talking about Jacqueline. And Mia said, nah, she hasn't, she's still not good with Jacqueline. It hasn't been addressed. And we have like a small little moment where you see her pick up the phone and Jacqueline's trying to talk to Mia, and Mia's not interested. So it's like, whatever. So they passed on this. So we then move on to a scene with Wendy. So I get excited because I'm like, when is Wendy gonna address what happened in Mexico? But of course, we see Wendy being a boss. We see her discussing about abortion and talking about Roe v. Wade. So you really just see Wendy in her element, being a boss. So I really question what happened with Mia and Wendy, because I don't know, maybe of course everyone is able to have their personal moments where they don't have to show everything about them, but I don't like how they're making it seem like Wendy is some undercover freak, like how what they did with Candy and Portia, like where Phaedra was saying things about Candy to Portia, which made Portia act up in a way that could have jeopardized Candy's career and her name pretty much. So I hope it's not that kind of other situation. I don't want to see that, because that's very cringy. I don't like that at all. But anyways, we get to the bachelorette party. So the girls are supposed to meet up at Mia to get on the bus. And, you know, we see Giselle come into Mia's home, making sure all the girls are in order. And Giselle, she looks, it's a cute look. I liked her look. Like, it's a lavender, again, with the straps. You ain't turning to look if you come in with the straps. She came with a straps, leather lavender dress, short dress, and it was cute until I saw that all the other girls were wearing lavender, Robin's friends. So I figured, okay, so it's not really stand out, you're gonna blend. But we get a moment which I love to see, is that Ashley come in the same snakeskin bodysuit that Mia wore, and I'm like, okay guys, who wore it better? And I thought to myself, I have to give it to Mia. I feel like Mia pulled the look better than Ashley. And of course, Ashley saw that too, because Ashley, she ran off the buzz. So she probably had known too. So it's always funny to see where the housewives unintentionally match. And that's always funny to see. Then the woman of the hour, Miss Robin, she comes in and she wore a sequence green dress. And I'm confused because I feel like it should have been at least white to give it bridal. And if it's non-traditional, I think it should have been a color that went more with the lavender, but a standout dress. I'm like, this was a missed opportunity, but you know, Robin, she doesn't really give us fashion. So, you know, I felt like she pulled whatever was somewhat stylish in her eyes in her closet, because it seems like with her looks, it's nothing really anything new. It's stuff that she already had worn, like for previous events. Like, for example, in her confessional, she wears like a rainbow dress, and it's the rainbow dress that she already wore for, I believe, for her brother-in-law's wedding. And I'm like, no, if it's already been captured in a photo, you can't wear it again. Like, you can't wear it again, especially for this big moment. You could wear it like into other moments that's not as visible or seen by the public. But I think that you need to, especially when you know you're being filmed, like you're cementing how you look for the world to see, and we're critiquing, and we can't see that. Look, that's such a crime. That is such a crime. And so the girls are having fun on the party bus on their way to the strip club. And Charisse, I felt like Charisse is showing a little bit of jealousy, because she felt like she should have been the one throwing the bachelorette party. I feel like Charisse is trying to really get herself into Potomac. as one of the main girls, but it shouldn't be a jealousy thing. I feel like you should just be happy for Robin, period. You shouldn't feel like, oh, you're the one who could have thrown a better party. No, Robin just had Giselle and Mia plan the party, okay? So let that be, you know? And, we want to know what's going on with Miss Karen. So we get a scene of what's going on with Miss Karen. And, she's not missing a thing. She's not missing the bachelorette party at all. Instead, she's doing investments, making bank. She's now working on her 4th wick candle. And so she placed an order and deposit $10,000. And, of course, none of it is happening unless you captured it in a photo. So she has her husband take a picture and she's like, this one is for Robin. And I'm like, that is so petty, but it's so cute to see Ray supportive. He came alongside and took the photo for her, so that was nice to see her and let Karen have a moment in this episode, because we don't really get to see much of Karen in this episode. It's mostly circled around the bachelorette party. So back on the bus, the girls, they're chatting about the extra R-rated activities that happen in Mexico. And apparently it was just a lot of kissing going on with everybody. So pretty much if you stayed up past 8 p.m., you were part of the group that was kissing upon each other. And it pretty much, Mia was the one shutting it down. Like, she was the one that was not the one into it. And you would think opposite. You would think that she would be so into it and wanting to take it to the next level. But she obviously was the one that was a bit prudish about the whole situation. It kind of gave me the impression that Wendy was the aggressor, or the one who really wanted to initiate an intimate moment with Mia, and that Mia was the saint. So that was like, I just can't wait till we hear Wendy's side of things. And so now we're finally at the strip club, and it's nice. Like, it's really, 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 really nice. It's like a place with steak and lobsters, and the girls are throwing their you-know-what. And so in the middle, they order their food and everything, and the food comes. The food looks so good. The food looks yum, 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 yum. And while they were eating, she asked Ashley, so what's been going on with your pending divorce? And I'm like, okay, Charisse, look at you being a producer. You leading scenes. And, you see Giselle saying, oh, yeah, that's right. What's going on with that? So you see, of course, second producer, Giselle, hopping on board, asking Ashley what's going on with her pending divorce. And at first, when Ashley started talking, it seemed like that she's wanting to reconcile, like her and her husband want to reconcile, but she says no. She actually doesn't feel comfortable with dating, and it's because he is saying that he is not dating, and that she would feel guilty if she started dating if he is not dating. And Candace, being a supportive friend, says to Ashley that no, he is in fact dating, and actually her husband, Chris, saw Michael at his restaurant with another woman. And of course she adds that the other woman was not cute, Ashley. And this gets Ashley activated. She pretty much make it clear that she's no longer holding back and that she's moving forward in her life. And I'm like, good for you, girl, because no way he can be telling you one thing, doing another, and not stopping you from living. So when the food is all there, it's like, ooh, it looks so good. The wings were winging, the lobster was lobstering, the steak was steaking. I loved how Charisse just snatched up another lobster from a plate. I'm like, did they not order enough lobster? Like, come on. Is the budgeting? And so as they're eating their food, Robin got to ask Charisse pretty much how she feels about Karen these days. And I'm like, there's going to be some drama. You're going to start some ish, And Charisse says that she doesn't like how Karen lies. And I'm like, we know that. And she can't say what's the issue with her. She kind of did tell you what's the issue with you, Charisse. She told us that she didn't like how you move towards her and tried to push a friendship when she obviously doesn't want a friendship with you. And so then Charisse, she drops tea. I'm like, okay, I'm listening. And pretty much she said the last time she was at a club, it was actually with with Miss Karen. And she says that Karen, she disappears. And, when she said that, Candace is like, oh, I hate girls who do that. That happens to me all the time. They go disappear and they go off in the corner doing what with their what. And obviously, Candace, she's lit. She's giving drunk. She's giving drunk. And then Cherise, she continues and she said, Karen is that girl that gets drunk and then she'll go off to a corner and have, with a worker in a bathroom. And I'm like, even Candace was like, oh my God, that's what I was saying, pretty much. And I'm like, oh my God, no, she did not just say that on television like this about Miss Karen. About Miss Karen, we don't need to know this. Like, what's the point? What's the goal? And Giselle, she confirms it. She says, yeah, it's true. And she actually held that in. Even when Karen would go after Giselle, she would never go outright and say that. So why, Giselle, you wouldn't go outright and say that? Because it's wrong. But you don't care if Cherise does it, because Cherise is going to be our mouthpiece. But anyways, apparently Cherise had already told this to Robin a long time ago. She also held that in. And Ashley, she said she heard some things, but not to this level. And Candace, she is funny because in her confessional, all she says is that she believes in black love and she has no comment on this. And I'm like, yes, Candace. But even though you already said too much, And Giselle, she says that this news is only new to Mia. And we then get a confessional with Mia. And they ask Mia, have you heard anything about Karen? And, Miss Mia has the innocent look. But you don't know if Mia's telling the truth half the time or not. And she said maybe she heard some things from the streets about Karen, but she didn't outright say it. So I'm like, damn, next episode gonna be hot. But, Mia, she gave her perspective. She said she was talking to her husband, Mr. Gordon. And what Mr. Gordon said is that, Ray, he's an older man, and he has a younger partner, younger wife, and that they may have an arrangement where they come to an understanding that she's free to do other activities with other people with his consent, and pretty much that's pretty much their their situation. But I didn't know that the girls were saying that apparently Ray has done his investigation on Mr. Blue Eyes, and they found out Mr. Blue Eyes, he's actually harmless, and that Ray is not worried about it. And then Giselle, she drops additional tea. She's like, oh, Blue Eyes is is Miss Karen's driver because Karen got her license taken away. So I'm like, damn. And, thank God for Mia sometimes, because Mia, she's the comic relief of the situation. So she takes it to the next level and jokes saying that, is Karen a prostitute? I'm like, that came out of complete left field. And so it's like, damn, we're here to sit here as viewers to think that, since Ray is older than Karen, that they must have some sort of arrangement that, of course, that's not our business. But now it has become our business because the girls are obviously talking about it. So the episode ends with the girls, the two snakeskin dancers, both Ashley and Mia, dancing on the pole with the bride-to-be Robin. And, I'm looking forward for this next episode because, first of all, we need to hear Wendy's side of what happened in Mexico. And then on top of that, I need to know if these allegations that they're making about Miss Karen is true. These need to be addressed, and I'm looking forward for next week's episode. I give this episode, dare I say it, a 10? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. There's so many cliffhangers. I don't know. I give it a 9.5. I'll give it a 9.5 because there was too many cliffhangers and at least I needed one of them to be resolved. So if you like this episode, please like and share and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for listening and I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.